Grandmaster, especially if he does not want to win and he plays very solid, as he did in several rounds before. So I think the most important thing is for Fabi himself, that to make sure that he's not blundering, he can stay healthy in mind, and just play a long game and wait for the opportunity to take. But even if it's a draw, I don't think it's over for him to clinch maybe to win the tournament, but definitely it should be an opportunity moment.
Round 9 is underway, a bit of a grudge match, a huge for the players, a huge moment in the candidates in this today, as we see the players get out their first moves, and you can make your predictions. Are you expecting a comeback? Who will win? And you can do that on our voting channels on voteon/events. So definitely go on there and give us your predictions. Meanwhile, Robert, we've got action on. We saw the handshakes coming in from Toronto, and we're getting more.
The battle of the Chennai teams ends in a draw, and Gukesh will stay on top of the standings with Nepo, who has also managed to grind out a draw despite being in trouble against Alireza Firouzja.
Finally, in game round 9, I think finally he could not win his completely winning position against Nodirbek. But you can see the strength, the power in Gukesh, that he's so focused, concentrated, having great self-confidence, which of course all this you can say on Praggnanandhaa as well in some ways. But still somehow with Gukesh, I think in this event also he shows great skills in different ways, or not only in opening preparation, because in opening preparation I must say maybe Praggnanandhaa showed more to me, but his strengths, how he bounces back, for example. This is something very, very serious and very important. Who is the greatest of all in this? It's Magnus Carlsen, but well, he's number 1. But going back to Gukesh, it's very impressive the way he plays, the way he fights, the way he handles critical positions. Also, he had a very difficult position against Praggnanandhaa, and he turned it over, and he even won. And it was a very important win. And we can say that he's in the lead together with Nepomniachtchi, and he even missed some opportunities, even though he has 5 points already.
And the one opportunity that really stands out, and that was his match against Alireza from a close to a winning position. He lost out in that game at the very end, and how much that's going to come to haunt him, only time will tell, Robert. And at the start of the tournament, for Gukesh and Pragg, for these two players, there was so much talk about how important and invaluable this experience of playing at the candidates will be for their future. But at this point, I think few can doubt that actually winning the whole thing has to be on their mind.
It certainly is, and wish a belated happy birthday to Garrett Kasparov, who was very young when he played for the World Championship. I think Gukesh, he knows about his great predecessors. He looks at the past and says, well, why not me? I'm tied for first place. And you could see the devastation on his face. His head hit the table when he lost that game to Firouzja. But his ability to bounce back has been just superb. And I'm not just talking about the fact that he won against FIDE yesterday. He had a terrible tournament in the Isle of Man. His rating plummeted. He lost like 25 rating points. It seemed like he wasn't himself there because he was trying to win and make his way to the candidates. But then the way he bounced back in the Chennai Masters, and of course in FIDE Candidates at the Tata Steel Masters, where he tied for first and only lost in a tiebreak in a playoff to Rei. You could have called either of them deserving champions, as well as the two others who tied for first. But my point is that what I've seen from Gukesh is he's an immovable object. He plays super solidly. He doesn't often take these tremendous risks. And Praggnanandhaa, Judith, as you said, he's more likely to come up with some wild-looking opening where he gives up a few pawns and goes for it. And somehow Gukesh's results, I feel like he's the one with more variance. Gukesh
Robin, I'm going to predict a repetition here. I think that with that knight on e5, such a stronghold, attacking d3, no pressure on d6, Prag's out of any trouble here. I'm expecting Gukesh to be pragmatic. What about you?
Yeah, he can give a check. He can just trade everything off. But the one problem for white is that you have these double pawns. So if you try to continue this game, there are no targets in black's position. You have a dark square bishop, and all of black's pawns are dark squares, but blunting the scope of the bishop. If this bishop, I'm going to pick it up and put it on this diagonal. On e4, we're having a totally different discussion. But because it's on the dark squares, Praggnanandhaa is everything correct. I think we'll see a draw because there's not much life left in the position now that I've taken a deeper look. Whether you trade or give this check, I do think we will see some form of equality, and there's nothing that Gukesh can do about it. Judith, I think just a well-played game from both these players.
Absolutely. In the middle game, we had the feeling that white is clearly better, and I think there were some very accurate moves by both players. I think Gukesh, with his queen maneuver, rook maneuver, he tried very well. And but I also liked very much the way Praggnanandhaa, the way he played in that very unpleasant position. And he was able to regroup his rook and queen, especially also his queen move back some time ago when he went queen a7 to have the buttery on the a5. I think that was something very good, and he understood the position, what he has to be playing for. It was clear that he has to be defending the d6 square pawn for the time being, and after that he was able to play f6 and knight e5. So it was he could stabilize his position, and I mean, he suffered quite a bit, I think, in this game. But he managed to equalize, and he can go on with the tournament in the next few rounds, trying to catch up his countryman and Nepo.
I'm not sure, but yeah, I was just about to say there was a draw offer by Gukesh with rook b8 check. Camera, he played the move, and everything that both of you just said about this position comes to true. Nothing more to fight for. An extremely well played game there by both these youngsters, and this ends peacefully in a draw, which means that Gukesh and Yan keep their lead in the candidates, Prag as well in the fight, and with it making that big comeback,